it's time when we put our campers away and winterize them and have to stop having fun for the year. So normally when we winterize our camper, we're in the Piedmont region of North Carolina, where it doesn't get that cold that we need to worry about our lines freezing too much. So we usually only blow them out with air and then just put antifreeze down in our traps. But I know that everybody is not in that climate. Some people are in colder climates, so I went ahead and got some extra antifreeze this year, and we're going to first show you how we blow out the line. So if you are in a warmer climate that you know, I know some people, it's a personal preference that they don't like antifreeze in their water lines. We're going to show that first, and then the second half of this video is going to be how to do it with the antifreeze. Okay, so the first thing that I always do is I come out and I take care of my water heater. So we're going to open this cover up, and that just twists off and this lifts off. Put that out of the way someplace where it won't get damaged. On our camper, it's 1 1/16 inches to get the anodized rod out, and the anodized rod is right down in here. It's probably a little hard to see. And I just keep this socket in here because honestly, guys, it's the only thing that I have that requires an 1 1/16 socket. Like anything you work on, it's going to be righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. So we're going to break that free. And you'll see the water is going to start coming out. A little bit of pressure on it. Just, if you've got a little bit of pressure, just open your temperature pressure relief valve. I know there's people out there that are going to argue with me on this, but I work on boilers. These valves are supposed to be exercised once a month. It's in the manual. Then you just pull the rod out. This, real quick, is your anodized rod. Depending on what kind of liner you have in your water heater dictates whether or not you get an anodized rod. This one does not have a whole lot of wear on it, so this one is going to be good for another season. We're going to put this one right back in. If yours is very corroded or it's all the way down, there's actually a little piece of steel that you can kind of see, if you see the difference in color, where this is, you know, nice and silver because it's made out of zinc, and then you've got that steel rod right through the center there. If you're down to that steel rod, this needs to be replaced. Guys, it's like a $12 part. So once this is finished draining, we'll just put the anodized rod back in and put the cover back on. We'll come back to that later. Yeah. Okay, so what I did here to use the compressed air, I'll actually take it apart so we can look at it, is I went ahead and made me a fitting. This is a 3/4 inch hose adapter to a compressed air line fitting. And I actually had to make this one myself because I couldn't find one with the proper fitting for my air connections. But we're just going to screw that into our city water connection. And then I actually went to Napa and I bought a second regulator. I like redundancy in everything that I do. If anything were ever to happen on the regulator on the air compressor and something went wrong and it sent 100 pounds of pressure to my water lines inside my camper, I would definitely be dealing with some water leaks come springtime, because I'm pretty sure I would blow all my water lines off my fixtures. So just as an added precaution, I put a regulator on here. This one's got a water separator on it as well. It's not really necessary, but it's the only way that I could get it. So this goes on to here, and then we just take our compressed air line and it goes on to our regulator. There we go. It's got a little bit of an air leak, but we don't charge extra for that. And all you guys want to put in is about 25 to 30 psi. We don't need a lot of pressure, we just need to get the water moving. That's all we got to do. And we'll go inside now. Alright guys, once we've got our air compressor hooked on and it's powered up, all we're going to do is come inside and we're just going to open our water line, and the water's going to come out. Once the water starts coming out, that's pretty much it. Do that on every single one of your fixtures, and we have been doing this for, let me turn this off for a minute. We've been doing it this way for about 4 years, and we have not had one problem. And we had a couple of years that we got down into the 8-degree, 10-degree range. Now, in our area, it doesn't stay that way very long. You know, usually overnight, the very dead of the night, 3, 4 in the morning, right before the sun comes up, is usually when we hit that 8-degree mark. So that's why I don't typically worry about it too much. Okay guys, so we bled all the water out of the lines using the compressed air, and what we're going to do now is show you how to winterize your camper using the antifreeze. Now, one thing that I didn't show before is that you have to bypass your water heater when you're winterizing. I bypass mine whether I'm using compressed air or antifreeze. Always refer to your manual. I know some manufacturers of water heaters will say that you can put RV antifreeze in it and actually recommend that you do. Ours does not. From what I understand, it has to deal with whether or not you have a liner in yours or not. But, you know, when in doubt, read the manual. So, the water heater is all the same when I do it with antifreeze. I go outside, I take the plug out, I open the temperature pressure relief valve, and I let the water drain out. I put the plug back in when I'm done just because I don't want bugs and animals, rodents, and whatnot getting in there and making a nice home for the winter time that I'm going to find in the springtime. That comes down to one of those things. It's a personal preference. If you want to leave it off, by all means leave it off. I know some people say if there's a drop of water in there, it's going to freeze and children are going to melt and puppies will die and all kinds of other stuff. One drop of water in your water heater is not going to be the difference between life and death. But I am going to show you on this section how to bypass the water heater. So we'll go in the bathroom and we'll see that. Okay guys, so the first thing you have to do is figure out where your water heater is located inside of your camper or trailer. Ours is located in the bathroom here, under the sink. And to bypass it, you have 2 valves. There's one down here on your cold water line, and then there's one up here on your hot water line, and I'm sure that's hard for you guys to see, but we're going to do our best to get it in there for you. And as you can see, the hot water line is going across here, and the valve is in line with it. And the same thing with the water. When these valves are in line, that's the direction that they're going. So to bypass it, we're going to take the hot water one, and we're going to turn it 90 degrees. And we're going to take the cold water one and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to turn it 90 degrees as well. And what that's going to do is when the water comes in, it's going to come in, hit this valve, and this valve is going to direct it up to this valve and back out, instead of going through the water heater, which we don't want antifreeze going through the water heater. And that's all there is to that, really. Okay, the next step is we need to we're going to use our water pump to pump the antifreeze into the water lines. So we need to actually bypass our tank, which we can do right down here. And again, just like the other ones, when these valves are in line, that means that's the direction that they're going. So our freshwater tank is actually down kind of behind this cabinet here. And this valve is in line, which means if we were to turn the pump on right now, it would be pulling from the water tank. So we shut that one by turning that 90 degrees. And then this line here is the line that we're going to take and put down into our jug of antifreeze. So all we're going to do, get the antifreeze, take this line, stick it down inside there, open this valve, and then we're going to turn the water pump on and open each faucet until it comes out nice and pink like this antifreeze is. If it's coming out kind of foamy or white, it means it still has water in it. We need to keep letting it pump until we get nice pink antifreeze coming out. So we're going to do that real quick. Okay, so we've got the water pump running, it's pumping the antifreeze in. We're just gonna open these valves. And it's gonna come out nice and pink real quick for us because we've already bled the water out. But just go to each valve, open each one up. Oh, that one still had a little more. That one looks clear. All right, and that's all there is to it. Go around each one and do that. Okay, the last thing that we're going to do before we pack it up and winterize it for the season is we're going to take a little bit of antifreeze and pour it down every single one of the P-traps and into the toilet. The reason that we do this is because the P-traps hold water. They're what keeps the smells from coming back out of the tank that we don't want to smell. It keeps a little bit of water in that trap all the time to create a barrier. So just take a little bit. You only need about maybe a cup per each drain, and that's probably more than plenty. So just a little splash down. That's probably enough. One down this one. That's probably plenty as well. Just go around to each drain and do that. And the only thing that there's two things that I didn't show in this video, and that's because it's getting dark on me very quickly. Don't forget your outside showers. Those are often forgotten. Don't forget if you have a tank flush system on yours, don't forget to either blow air through that or get a pump and pump antifreeze into that as well. And your low point drains under your vehicle, open those. You should have probably 3. There should be one for your freshwater tank, there should be one for your cold water supply line, and one for your hot water supply line. And the last thing that we do is we get all of our canned goods and water out of the camper, and anything else that rodents or animals that we don't want might find attractive, sheets, towels, things like that they're going to chew up to try and make bedding out of. But that's it, guys.